This is Lisa Braganca, and I want to talk a little bit today about blockchain for commercial litigators. So what kind of cases involve cryptocurrencies, which are the main thing that I'm going to be talking about today that operate on a blockchain? Well, we've got divorce. A cryptocurrency like Bitcoin is on a blockchain, and in order to be able to figure out how to handle it in a divorce, you have to understand it. How about probate? More and more people are holding cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin, and I'll just refer to, when I say Bitcoin, I'm just referring generally to cryptocurrencies, but that's going to be part of the estate of more and more people as time goes on. I'm already involved in a case where Bitcoin is one of the assets in the estate. Tax. How are tax authorities handling it? And lots of these other areas. So you need to know, regardless of whether you are dealing with cryptocurrencies right now, you need to know about them and how to handle them in litigation. So the first thing that you need to do is figure out, if you're in litigation, what's the judge thinking? Does the judge know about blockchain and cryptocurrencies? So here's the thing. What's the judge thinking about Bitcoin? What does he think it is? Is he just going to turn off as soon as you start explaining what it is? Does he think that it's a physical asset? You need to know that. And then you need to think about how you're going to explain it if he doesn't understand it, or even explain it if he thinks he understands it, but doesn't yet. So what's the judge going to say when you start explaining, well, Bitcoin is something that's on a blockchain? What is he thinking that a blockchain is? So we need to figure out how to explain that. What's the best way to do it? Use analogies and start early in your case. Don't wait until trial to start educating your judge about what blockchain and Bitcoin is. This is just a very simple example that you can use to explain. Blockchain is the track and Bitcoin is the train moving along the track. It's very straightforward. It gets you kind of on the path. Then you have to get into the more technical issues. So this is the way that a Bitcoin transaction appears when you go online to take a look at it. And that is darned ugly. So what judge, what jury is going to be excited about looking at something like this? Well, you're going to have to explain it to them. So let me just run through really quickly what the pieces are in this really ugly looking depiction of a Bitcoin transaction. So first we have here a transaction number. That's a nice number. Boy, wouldn't you want to have to rattle that off every time you're referring to it in your litigation? Here's the from wallet. So this is where the Bitcoin is coming from. This is where the Bitcoin is going to. It's two different wallets. Now, that's pretty ugly. And, you need to figure out some way to explain this in a more palatable kind of way. So develop visual aids early. Don't wait till you're in trial preparation mode. Get going with this and start using these visual aids early in the litigation. As early as the complaint if you can. So here's just something very simple. We have Mary, who has a wallet over there on the left. She is sending Bitcoin. Let's use our little Bitcoin picture. We got an arrow. Here's the amount of the Bitcoin. And she's sending it to Joe. And Joe is over here on the right, and he's got a wallet. Okay, it's a little hokey, but, this is just a very basic way of explaining what was going on in that really not very palatable, not very understandable picture. Another thing that commercial litigators need to do is think about foundation early. And a lot of people think that a Bitcoin transaction is, they're going to get it admitted just like a business record, no big deal. But here's the rub. There is no Bitcoin custodian that you can call as a witness. So you usually have the business records custodian. You don't have that here. So it's complicated by that. How do you get this in? Well, the first step is you have to show that a Bitcoin transaction is what it purports to be. So how are you going to do that? You need a program to view the Bitcoin transaction on blockchain. So that's like a camera. We have a thing that exists out there in the world, and we're going to have a picture of it and we're going to bring that picture into the court. But now you need an expert to testify that that viewing program depicts true and accurate information on the blockchain. So that's like having the photographer come in and testify. Yes, I was out there and I took this picture with my camera, and my camera, I can attest that this is a true and correct photograph of what was out there in the world. You're going to have the expert, a programmer, or somebody else who can attest that the viewing program that captured that picture that I showed you is a true and correct copy of what is on the blockchain. But that only gets you part of the way there. So now you have to show you have to now show that the blockchain transaction information that is depicted is reliable. Now, how are we going to do that? How can we show that we can actually rely on it, that it is correct? Well, we need an expert to testify that blockchain transactions are generally reliable, that they're generally immutable. So this is like, what if we had a bank statement? Somebody could have cut and pasted it together. We need an expert to testify that these transactions are generally reliable. And people use immutability a lot. They throw that term around. And what's on the blockchains are not necessarily immutable. They're changeable. It's ridiculously hard to do it in most cases. The next piece of expert testimony that you need as a commercial litigator dealing with blockchain, these Bitcoin transactions, is you have to show who the wallets belong to. Remember, we had that from wallet and those two wallets. The Bitcoin, 40 Bitcoin, we're just going from one wallet to two other wallets. How do we show who they belong to? I mean, again, we don't have a bank. There isn't Mr. Bitcoin out there who keeps track of who each one of those wallets belongs to. So now we have to figure out how to get that information and get it in a form that we can, convey it to a judge and a jury. So you may need a forensic expert to analyze a computer. Like maybe it's the husband's computer or the wife's computer in a divorce case. Maybe it's the decedent's computer in a probate case. If it's stolen Bitcoin by an employee in a business, you would need somebody maybe to analyze that person's office computer or home computer. So you could need up to 3 experts to get a Bitcoin transaction or Bitcoin transaction into evidence. Now, up to 3. You could have one who might be able to testify to all of this, but the main point here is not, to get into any particular number of experts, but the issue is, and the point I want you to take away from this is plan ahead. This is not something that you do, a month before trial. This is something you've got to be thinking about from the beginning of your case. Here are some articles that I've written, just in case you want to learn more about this. Some of them are a little more technical than others, but this is something that if you want to get more information about it, you can go to my website, secdefenseattorney.com. Thank you.